actually a building block as every match goes on. I think it's just a positive more and more, especially for a kid like Josh.
So the lag to determine the break.
Nearest to the top rail, whichever cue ball finds itself closest, which looks very close. Maybe just give the edge to Gorst.
Yeah, and then, oh wow, I thought it was maybe Fedor as well, but again, Ben's on top of it. Ben Taylor Fuentes.
The first rack, Joshua Filler to break. Foul stroke.
Oh, that looked to be a thin hit on the one, and that's the difference between Fedor and all the other players. It seems the first break or two can be a little off, where Fedor seems to come with the break pretty much immediately.
A potential quarter century of racks tonight starts on a low note for the home favourite.
Yeah, you got to see the replay of the break shot, and the one ball was quite a way down from near the side pocket. That cue ball did not come parallel across the table.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe a little bit tricky on the first shot. He's going to have to now maybe draw the cue ball. I don't know. It looks pretty straight. Josh not too happy with that opening strike of the cue ball.
Fedor Gorst will be 24 next month. He's number 3 in the world rankings. He is seeded 2 because that's where he was in the standings when the seedings were set for this tournament. Shane Van Boening has since edged back ahead of him.
Yeah, and it was funny. The semifinal was like, for Fedor, it was pretty solid overall, and then some like misses you just don't expect. So I think those are easily left behind, the misses with Fedor, just because it doesn't happen very often. And if he can just stick to his guns on all the other departments, I think he'll have a good chance in this final.
Yeah, it's not like a queuing worry, is it? It's not like, how have I delivered the cue on that one? Jeremy, how much will Fedor Gorst have learned from the loss in the US Open final?
Oh, I think tremendous. I mean, I'm sure he's the type that'll go back and look at the few mistakes, and there wasn't a ton of mistakes. And then, of course, Ko Ping Chung needs a little more here. It's got kind of tricky, I think. But I think, he's going to look back at it and take those few little things that went wrong and understand what happened and process. And it's been several months, and he's had some events since.
Extension called.
But yeah, he's dying to hoist one of these titles in a World Nine-Ball Tour event.
Yeah, as we've said, he did win the World Championship as a teenager in 2019, but Carl pointed out it was a very different event then. Still a very prestigious thing to win, but these Matchroom events have a feel, modern prestige all of their own.
Well, Michael, I mean, there's all kinds of ways you can look at that as well. It's just a different type of pool you have to play now with the break box, the 4-inch pockets. There in Qatar, it was pretty friendly tables. So it may come sometime to just who got the shots after the break more than, what we see now.
Okay, this is not exactly where he wanted the cue ball, so it's an early test in rack 1. The D-cell, has he got away with it?
Yeah, and you'll notice, again, I talked about it earlier, technically when he has that pause at the cue ball, but when it's light, that's when he may every now and again let up on the downswing. And that one with a little side spin, it was obvious. Now Filler, who started a lot of matches kicking at the ball to try and get himself kind of settled, and he's hit him beautifully for the most part. Can't get the snooker here really, but just getting the 8 to the top cushion.
Fantastic kick shot. Things like that used to wind me up, JJ, back in the day. I always felt like if I'd have started commentary first and then had to be a pro, I'd have been a lot better, because I used to think, well, he's missed it and snookered me. It used to do me head and stuff like that, but you know, Phil has done what he had to do and played a good kick safe.
Yeah, I don't think it's safety here. I think it's some type of offense.
Wasn't close. But Phil's going to have to knock a good ball in here, but he relishes these chances. And it's not just a case of, this is different. It's not like Phil has left the cue ball there off the run out. He knows this could hurt Gorst. Could be a big moment in the early stretches of this final. Boy, this is tough though.
Yeah, but like always, you always want to bet on him. Has this gotten a bit funny for the black 8 only being, what, some 12, 13 inches away from the cue ball?
Yeah, it looked like it was going to sit there perfectly for him and make it a formality, but just kept on running. So still a little hope for Filler here.
He's going to thin cut this in the middle. He's got to watch the scratch with the cue ball. How's the pace? Going near the 9. Needs a flick. Well, he's going to have to bank it.
Yeah, and it's the type of bank you kind of want to play somewhat slowly, bringing the cue ball to the middle of the end rail for a little cover, just in case you miss, making Josh come with a big one.
These two players, Michael, they excel in this department. How many bank shots do you see these two guys make? I'll tell you what, boys, we are in for a final here. It's only rack 1.
It really feels like something at a much more advanced stage of the match. Gorst had a chance to win it in one go after Filler's scratch, but left himself a testing 8. It's all ultimately led to this 9-ball battle. So an eventful opening rack finishes off with a crowd-pleasing 9-ball for a very determined-looking Joshua Filler. The home favourite leads Fedor Gorst 1-0. You know, Jeremy, we saw Johan Reisink there just before the match as we see that winning 9 again from Filler. And I guess we were talking about the performance from Gorst earlier and the mistakes and the balls he missed. That's the value of having a coach with you, that he can help you turn it around then coming into the final.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure how much time they get to spend. I'm sure they talk. But one thing about these two players, and that's why you saw Josh recover on that 9 right there after the missed 8, is they both know the stroke and their stroke, the technical side of it. So they'll recognize where the flaw was in the swing and repair it.
Being in the final must have seemed a long way off when he was 4-1 down against Eklund Kachi on the opening night. Out of sorts, suffering with the cold, but turned it round. In the end, he pulled away from 6-all to win 9-6. And against Ko Ping Chung yesterday, it was quite similar. 4-3, and again he pulled away, won the next 5. Ko got one back and then finished off in the next. And
Rack
again
2.
against Ko Ping Yi, he had a
Joshua
run of
Phil's
5 in a row to lead 8-3.
Leading 1 rack to 0.
And the elder Ko came back at him a bit. Filler got it done at 11-8.
I'll tell you, you saw Filler. Like I said, he recognized the problem on the first break shot, going over to take that aim on the 1, kind of solidifying where he wanted to hit the 1 ball. And now this could be some punishment after a few mistakes and a surprising loss of the first game after having ball in hand. Awkward cueing here on the blue 2, though.
Can we just take a moment to just think about the 9-ball Filler's just rolled in? I mean, that was in the middle of the pocket.
Yeah, he really had to play it to kind of the blind pocket, because the pocket you would generally think was somewhat of a natural scratch with the cue ball.
That's the type of shot where Filler's very smart. A lot of players just try and go a bit too more with the positional shot, try and get a bit acuter on the next ball, but he's not scared to leave himself another testing pot.
Okay, this one will have a bit more speed.
So had the scratch off the break in the opening rack. Wasn't much he could do about that, but since then, a lot of encouraging signs. That wonderful 9, as you said, Carl, into the middle of the pocket, having started in the middle of the table. Now closing in on a break and run for 2-0.
We've seen it all week, we see it all season. It's important that you take these opportunities, because one little silly error can change the match, and that positional shot has gone slightly wrong.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a dig on this. The ball will hop a little bit and take the draw. Ooh, he cheated the pocket big time there. And that was totally intended.
Playing for the 8 ball in the right centre pocket. That's good enough, isn't it? That's come round okay. He's played for that right centre because he's got a big margin for error. If he overruns it, even if he finds this long rail, he can still pot the 8. Positional shot's gone wrong here, though. He's left himself a shot. Well, he should have been nowhere near the rail.
As in the first rack, he closes it out by potting a testing 9 ball. Joshua Filler has efficiently moved in to a 2-0 lead. That funny coloured drink on his table, by the way, apparently he's got cola and fizzy orange in the same bottle. Doesn't sound very appealing, Carl.
No, well, I worked with Joshua Filler at one of the Moscone Cups, and all he ate was McDonald's and Nutella. I'm not even joking.
It's the Luke Littler of pool. So we talked about Filler's route to the final a moment ago. This is what Fedor Gorst has come through and coasted through the first couple of matches for the loss of only 4 racks. He was actually 3-2 down against Mario He, then won 7 in a row. Started with a golden break against Alban Ocean and built on that to lead 6-0. He lost the next rack, but then won a chaotic 8th and closed it out. 2 break and runs in the last 3 racks.
Bidding 2
To
racks
win
to
10-1, and then earlier today, finishing strongly, 2 break and runs in a row to finish against Shaw. But 2-0 down now.
You can see the difference in break there. As Jeremy said, the first break was way too thin, but he's adjusted in the last couple. Here's another look. It's that arc. That's the famous Francisco Sanchez Ruiz arc on the break.
Yeah, absolutely. Made that famous to the tune of 2 major titles and a #1 ranking for now some year and a half, it seems.
Yeah, those 2 big titles you're talking about, the US Open and the World Championship, within a few months of each other. Filler did the same 5 years ago this week, winning the US Open, just a few months after claiming the world title.
That was a little wide, but I think he was just waiting to get the cue ball out as far as he could for this pink 4. The purple 5 does pot.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be thin or some distance, so he'll stun the ball with a little check, a little spin. Now, thinking of that first 9 ball he made, then also the second 9 ball he made, makes me think of both these guys. You know a lot about cueing. Carl, are there any 2 straighter strokes on tour?
I mean, I don't mind throwing Shaw into that bracket, but he's getting a little bit older, isn't he? So maybe we're going to have to just sneak in behind these 2, but still think Phil has got the edge for pure potting. You know, he just knocks some ridiculous balls in. I think Gorst looked better on the eye on the cue action. You know, if you were going to write a book, you'd stick a picture of Gorst in, wouldn't you? But the timing, it's the timing he hits the cue ball, what I really love about Josh.
Yeah, he settles for the long shot so much, and I think that just has built his game of confidence.
Much more straightforward 9 this time, but ultimately it's the same outcome, and that's back-to-back breaking runs for Joshua Filler. He's off to a flyer, 3-0 up.
What a moment. Here we go. This is all about emotion right now. What a shot! It went down! I cannot believe it! Wow! And the last man standing! Oh, incredible standing! It was, in the end, phenomenal.
Isn't it so refreshing to enjoy a pure feel-good moment like this?
With a tear in the eye and a shiver down the spine.
What an incredible year it was on the World 9-Ball Tour in 2023. We're into the new season now, and in just 9 days' time we'll be in Telford for the 3rd staging of the UK Open, then off to Jeddah for the World Pool Championship, FSR defending there. Fulda and Atlantic City dominate August, and then those 2 big team events at the end of the year, the inaugural Reyes Cup, and then, of course, the Mosconi Cup. And speaking of the Mosconi Cup, we've shipped out one former Mosconi captain and brought in a future one, Jason Shaw, going to be captaining Europe for the first time later in the year. Nice of you to join us for a few racks. Disappointing earlier today, but it's another strong tournament for you.
Yeah, obviously, it's never nice to lose, right? But I felt like I played a good tournament. I feel like I got some things rolling on my way, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the next few tournaments.
Joshua Filler to break.
Not long to wait for the UK Open. I assume you're playing in the Scottish Open this coming week.
Yes, I am.
No ball on the break. No shot for Gorst.
Push out call.
Thought there was one a little bit too thin there.
What do you see here, Jay? What's Fedor looking at? What's his options?
Oh, I don't think there's a lot, really. I think whatever he does is going to come back to the table, probably jumping at something. I think maybe push it out towards the 8 onto the side rail.
Well, Jason said he'll be
Joshua, it's your choice.
rolling out into maybe a jump shot, and that's what he's done. Filler knows how good Gorst is with his short stick, but at 3 up, it's a good play, this, isn't it, to give it back?
Yeah, I think, you know, you got to give it back and let him try and keep pushing to get himself back in the game. So I'm sure Josh wasn't going to take that shot on.
Wasn't far away. Not an easy jump shot by any stretch. Now, what's he left?
I don't think he has a pocket for the 1 ball. I think just clip off the 1 and go up the table behind the 7, I believe.
What a great sign to see someone talking to himself like that as early as the 4th rack.
Is he looking at the carom to pot the 8 over the pocket? He had a go, didn't he?
Yeah, I didn't like that shot. I thought just clipping off the 1 and putting it behind the 3 and going up behind the 7 was the better shot for Josh now.
He's gone for the jump cue. He's got the short cue in his hand
Extension
here.
call.
The chance he could go into the 9 here. He doesn't have much hills. I think clip the 1 and go towards the 9, give it a chance.
Yeah, Jason's saying the 9 ball might go in the bottom left. Was he going to finish? It's going to end up going towards the 8. Is it going to scratch? It's going to go right behind the 8 ball. Wow. How do you like that? Oh, nice roll.
Well, the difference between that and scratching to leave ball in hand, with the ball sitting as they are, is astronomical.
You just never know where that cue ball is going to go.
Extension call.
The jump. And nice little fortunate roll there for Fedor. He'll be happy to see that stay out the pocket.
Yeah, how do you hit this one? He can only hit the top rail by the looks of it.
I think in his first match that he played, he kicked a couple of balls in. Something similar to this.
Foul stroke. Ball in hand.
That was a tough ask.
Please start the clock.
What a difference every little thing makes. That cue ball scratches in the side as it looked as though it might have done a few moments ago. It's filling with ball in hand and every chance for 4-0. As it is, Gorst can get started in the match here.
Wonder if he'll try and stay above the 3 or try and come below and play the 3 off the 8 in the side.
Oh, he's played for the gap.
That was a nice shot.
Yeah, it was worrying times. He's raced to 13, of course, but the fact that he missed the 8 ball and then Phil's knocked that wonderful 9 ball in and got into a 3-0 lead. So the short cue where he's got a little bit lucky to hook Joshua may well have come at the right time here. Still got to take care of this shot.
Yeah, 3-0 can certainly be turned around quite comfortably in a race to 13, but it's one of those where it's okay as it is, but if he falls any further behind, it starts to look like a big task. So these important moments for Gorst.
Just go one rail here, Carl, or go around behind the 7 and the 9.
Yeah, I think on the new cloth, it lends itself to go forward. Yeah, just like so. 7 ball does go, so it's just a case of getting back out in the centre of the table. We don't want to see a one-sided final, do we? So, sure, even Joshua's friends might be hoping Gorst knocks this one in. We want a bit of drama.
Like to see it get real close for the fans.
Well, that was the surprising thing in the final of this tournament. Last year in Brentwood, there have been a lot of close finishes throughout the week. And the last thing we expected was a landslide final, but we ended up with one. Copigny winning 13-5 against Eklinkachi.
Yeah, he played a real great final in that. He was just solid all week last year. He beat me in the first round like 9-1. He ran like 6 racks too. He was really strong that that year.
So nearly scratched in the side pocket. Instead, he left Fuller in all sorts of trouble. It netted ball in hand for Gorst, and from there he's opened his account, so 3-1. So Jason, now that you've been appointed Mosconi Cup captain, I remember talking to Jeremy last year when he was named for his 4th in a row, and he was saying the work starts straight away. Has it been the same for you?
Yeah, obviously, I'm watching a few more matches of players and seeing how players are doing, chatting to a few people, you know, who've got a good chance or maybe have a chance to be in the team. So yeah, I'm obviously watching a few more matches now and taking a little bit more on board as I have to.
You're never going to name names, but do you have it in your head, the 5 you would like to have in Florida?
Yeah, of course. Carl puts his hand up there. Yeah, of course, I've got 5 guys that I know that could do the damage, you know, but there's a lot of top players in Europe right now, and there's a lot of youngsters coming through. And, you know, I've got my eyes on a few of the youngsters as well because they've been doing well recently. And, yeah, it's going to be tough no matter who I pick. People might not like me at the end of the year for that reason, but, you know, I got to make those choices.
Did we like him at the start of the year?
I was just going to say, they don't like you at the start of the year.
No, come on. Not at all. But that's the thing, there are probably 20 or 30 players you could draw a team from and have a lot of confidence in them.
Yeah, 100%. It's such a strong field that you could pick from in Europe, so we're just lucky to have that.
Gorst's first break of the final.
Yeah, we'll have a little bit more of a chat about the other team event that's going to be happening, Michael, the Reyes Cup with Jason, shortly after this rack, maybe. Well, this is what can happen. Gorst has been breaking fabulous, to be fair. He's been making the 1 ball a lot, and he's got a shot at the 2.
Yeah, I think just roll this in and go forward. Shoot the 3 ball in the same corner. Struck it well.
That's the balcony seating that goes all around the top tier of the arena. I think we've got to be very pleased with the crowds have turned out here in Hildesheim. And you look at this place and Fulda, not exactly the major cities of Germany, but they've both staged big events over the last couple of years now, and people have turned out in numbers.
I think he's going to have to draw this ball between the 7. Put a nice little stroke on there.
Yeah, well done there from Gorst. Could have easily found himself hooked behind that brown 7.
A little bit further than he wanted to go, but he's still good. Make the 5 and drift across and shoot the 6 in the same pocket. I think he needed that last rack, a little bit of luck just to get him going in this match, Carl.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. You know what Joshua Fuller's like better than anyone. Such a great front runner like yourself, Jason.
Yeah, I think at 3-0 it wasn't looking real great for Fedor, but like you said, it's race to 13, long way to go, and 1 or 2 little funny things can change the match real quick.
That gives you a real good look at the stance and how compact Gorst is on the cue. Now watch how 8 ball, if he's just left himself jacked up, which looks like he has, he might just be able to get to the top left of the cue ball. He does have an angle on the 7.
I think he can get to the maybe drawing it. No, he has to follow this ball. A bit tricky, this.
Needs this to bounce though. Yeah, the fact that it's not touching the rail makes all the difference.
Yeah, it's not a nice shot when that ball gets close to the rail like that, Carl. It's kind of tricky shooting it back to a blind pocket.
he's been looking down the line of the pot here. He knows this is a big moment here, just to get back to one behind with the break. Looks good.
Nice shot there.
So, millimetres away from the scratch in the side that would have given up ball in hand and very possibly a 4-0 deficit. But he ended up winning that rack and a very efficient one with which to follow it. All of a sudden, Gorst is back to only one behind at 3-2. So we talked about the Mosconi Cup, and we're going to be talking a lot over the next few months about this new event, the Reyes Cup, something we've been talking about for years. Time to bring Asia into the fold of these big team events, and this is what it's all culminated in. Just announced a few days ago, the inaugural Reyes Cup in the Pool Mad, Philippines capital of Manila, starting on the 17th of October. And we were talking, Jason, about how many players could potentially be on your team. Asia arguably has an even bigger pool to choose from.
Yeah, you know, some posts were made on like Instagram and Facebook about who could be in the Asian team, and some of the players that were named in that list was like, wow. It was just incredible to see so many champions on that list. But, you know, it's just going to be a fun event, and it's going to be great to be in the Philippines, the Mecca home of pool, right? That's where it comes from. And
you know as well as anyone after events in Hanoi what it can be like playing in front of an enthusiastic Asian crowd. This could top the Mosconi for atmosphere.
Yeah, obviously Hanoi was unbelievable. The fans there were just wild, and Philippines, it could be even crazier.
Yeah, I just want to see
Rack
what
6.
5 players you would pick
Fedor Gorst to break.
for Asia. Obviously,
Trading
you're captain
3
of
racks.
Europe this year.
Like it.
Let me think about that one.
Okay, we'll give you to the next rack. We'll give you till after the break. Well, he's missed the one ball. That means he's going to give up the table back to Phil.
Yeah, Phil will be delighted to have a straight shot on the one here after, you know, probably sitting in the chair thinking he should have been up 4-0. But yeah, he'll be delighted just to get back to the table.
I also don't think the 9 ball's in the way. I think he can get a clean cue to it. Yes, he can. The 2 ball does pass that 4. He's all about knocking this ball in. Knock it in, he does.
This is just connecting the dots here. 5 to the 6. 6 has got a good angle up to the 7. I can't see too many problems here.
Looking at this table layout, Jay, which pocket would you be putting the 7 ball in from getting position on the green 6?
I would be putting the 7 ball in the same pocket as the 2 ball just went in. That way you can come up to the side rail, have a good angle to go forward and back out for the 8. I think going on the other side a little bit more trickier. You got to try and control the cue ball a little bit better.
I think Jeremy's coming back in after the break, Jason, so let's take this opportunity to give you the 5 Asian names. I'll start you off. I'm guessing the Ko brothers would both be in there?
Yeah, so I said the Ko brothers, Chang, Efren. I picked Efren, just, you know, just because...
Because he's Efren?
Yeah, just because he's Efren, and it would be amazing to have him in the event, and the crowd probably wants to see him in the event.
He's talked about it. He wants to play. Get back out there.
I'm thinking you maybe throw in a Vietnamese, you know.
No Biardo.
You see, this is the problem.
This is the problem. So do you take Efren out and put in Biado or Chua or Raga or Aranis or, you know, a Kyle Amarato? There's tons of them you could pick from the Philippines.
And you think of someone like Kyle Amarato, by the end of the year when it comes around, the way he's going, he could be a top player.
Yeah, he had a great run in Hanoi. You know, you seen how well that kid can play. There's another one too, Bernie.
Yeah, Bernie.
Yeah,
he's a class
Regalario.
player. Sorry, Michael.
So yeah, it's going to be a tough one. But yeah, it's hard to say you could leave out Biado.
Yeah, I think I'd go Ko brothers, Biardo, Wu Cha Ching. And then I think Chua.
I forgot about Wu Cha Ching. I haven't seen him for a while.
Of course, Michael, that's picking the team. Move this cue ball to bounce a little bit. Well, that's ideal.
Couldn't have placed that any better with your hand there, Carl. That's what I meant by going that side of the 7. You had to really judge it. A little bit more spinning, he wouldn't have had a shot on the 7.
Should be 4-2 now. So Filler was 3 clear at one stage. That was trimmed to 1. And now he's got a gap of a couple of racks again. It's 4-2 to the home country favourite, Joshua Filler. Jason, thanks for dropping in, and I guess after all your form recently, you'll be looking forward to the UK Open. We'll see you there.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. I appreciate it.
Cheers, Jason. See you soon, and we'll see you again after the break. Hildesheim has been home to the World Masters for the first time this week. Indeed, the first time it's ever been held in Germany. And we're going to see the first home winner of the title since Karol Skawerski won in Poland 12 years ago. It's heading that way at the moment, but still an early stage of this final. Joshua Filler leading Fedor Gorst 4-2. Before the break, we said goodbye to one US Open champion, and we've replaced him with another because Jeremy Jones is back in, sitting alongside a man who almost won it.
Thank you, rack 7. Joshua Filler to break, leading 4 racks to 2.
Oh, that'll do, I'll tell you.
Yeah, just having a scan around the table, just trying to get an idea of where these balls have finished.
5-2 to 6, really. Only reason that's a little concern is the black 8 could kind of pose a little bit of a problem.
Extension call.
Just using his extension, so he's clearly just thinking about something. It kind of looks obvious just to pull it back down and shoot for the 4 in the bottom left, but he's got other ideas, JJ.
Yeah, and I really think that does have something to do with the purple 5 getting from that to the green 6. He's overdrawn this just a touch. He wanted to be able to go kind of forward to fall a little on the right side of the purple 5. That would make it easy. Now maybe he has to show us a little more.
Big moment in this final. This is a big moment because it's not just a miss, and it's not just Gorst getting back to the table. It'll give Gorst belief, this will.
Yeah, and I'm really kind of shocked at the play in the corner, just because he could have played it in the side, not getting where he originally wanted, but the 6 is pretty cuttable from anywhere above the side on the right. I think that's where you're going to see Gorst play from here in a moment. Maybe not. May have gotten heavy enough here on the purple 5 to draw the ball.
Well, I think if Filler would have played for the pink 4 into the bottom left corner, this is the shot he would have been left with.
Yeah, and that's all about wanting to get a little better maybe on the green 6 instead of just accepting a little bit of a shot.
Yep, it was a big error from Filler.
Yeah, and something you don't see very often, not just the error, but maybe overthinking it a bit. We talked about him keeping it so simple, and that's one of his big assets, I believe.
Start the shot clock, please.
Needs a friendly bump here, boys. Not gonna get it.
Yeah, the head slumped almost as soon as he had made
Extension
contact
call.
with the cue ball. He knew it had gone wrong.
He's going to attack with the cross-side bank. He's missed one in the opening game on the 9 ball. Now on the 8. May as well really be the 9. If he buries it, the 9's pretty easy.
This time he makes the bank, and how big of a bank is that going to prove to be? Here's another look. Straight into the middle of the pocket.
Filler was in play with a good chance for his third break and run already in this final. It looked as though he was going to restore the 3-rack gap he enjoyed earlier. But an unexpected miss on the 3 let Gorst back in, and he is closed to just 1 behind. Well, that's the thing with Filler, isn't it, Carl? We know he's not machine-like. He does throw in these unexpected things from time to time, doesn't he?
Yeah, more decision making, to be honest. He's got every shot in the book, but you're not going to keep potting your way out of trouble. It's all about cue ball, is cue sports, and he did lose the cue ball on the 3. And I'll tell you what, if he could rewind the clock, I bet he would play for the pink 4 in the bottom left.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And the thing with Filler in this match right here with Fedor, like all the greats, he's not going to miss, you know, he might not miss another ball. But what's Fedor going to do after that miss and that mistake? Is he going to put a few racks together?
Rack 8. Fedor
He was
Gorst
dry
break.
off his last break.
Trailing 4 racks to 3.
Well, the one's vanished, but he's no shot on this 2. No bank available either, so it's going to be a safety.
I mean, here, do you keep it simple here, Carl? Do you really try to get a devastating hook underneath the 6, maybe? I mean, that's flirting with a scratch, but doesn't lay the worst to have some kind of control on it. I think he's going to use more of the 9, the 5, and the 8. This is overhit. Cue ball's got to run.
Got a view of Fedor Gorst's chin there. He puts powder on his chin. Feels like the cue kind of rubs on his chin and leaves a bit of a rash, so that just helps. It runs smooth. Needs a friendly bump off a ball here, or a gap, and he's found the gap. Still needs another good pot here though, doesn't he? That was actually, I didn't at first think he could pot that ball, to be honest.
Yeah, just a hair of outside English right spin. And thing with Fedor, he likes to stun the ball a lot. Even on that safety, he kind of stunned it and lost control of the object ball.
This has got to go. Here comes the short cue.
Yeah, does he have an angle on this pink, though? The jump pretty much routine for these guys, in my opinion. Can he produce something on the purple 5? He's gonna maybe could miss this, actually, trying to dig on the cue ball, trying to get position.
Just played a shot to stay at the table there. Didn't want to get silly with the cue ball control. Fantastic view there of the cue ball hopping.
It's like a gymnast doing a dismount.
Is he looking at a trick shot of some sort? That's what I was thinking. Maybe the 5 cross side going into the 9, maybe making the green 6. Maybe the 9 somehow finds that pocket, going through the green 6, maybe off the rail. Doesn't like the safety. That's what I'd have to look at here, though. Chipping the 5, trying to put it below the 8, maybe on the first diamond, right above Fedor Gorst's name.
He doesn't want it on the rail, does he, JJ? That's why he's bounced it off the second rail, but he may have left a gap here. He had a good look anyway.
Yeah, he's definitely left him something, or it appears so. Sometimes these can fool you, though. You think there's a path, but there's really not. The soft kick would spin to the bottom cushion, not that bad. Trying to just lay the 5 past the 9 using the 8 and 9.
Tell you what, JJ, you'd like that one again, wouldn't you? I thought the 5 ball were going to move a lot further up the table. Fedor, Joshua Filler is down quick. Yeah, he's played the safety.
Yeah, that's surprising. I don't know if he's feeling it a little bit on the, when we say he's feeling it a lot of times, that's a good thing, but there is another side of that. Really surprised he didn't entertain, the 5 up in the corner. Even with the shot clock and the extension gone, you can always get down and play that safety, and wouldn't be surprised if
Extension called.
Fedor puts him in a worse position. Oh, this is amazing. He's not going to the side cushion here. Hard to get a lot of speed on this, and this is a diamond and a half up.
It was particularly surprising that he turned it down when you consider Filler probably gets a higher percentage of that sort of shot than just about anyone. But there we are.
Yeah, and also to add to that, Michael, when you look at where the 5 ball is, it doesn't have to go in clean, does it? It can hit way up the cushion. Does it prove to be the right shot, or is it going to be the wrong shot? Well, I think we're going to see the short cue. I think we're seeing a couple of weird shot selections here from Josh.
Maybe a case he wants it too much and is overthinking it.
Well, definitely in the last rack, overthinking. I mean, of course he wants it, but maybe he can recover right here. Yeah, and the last rack was a little head scratching and puzzling, you might say, but way more puzzling to me the safety on the 5 a moment ago and not going for the shot. Unique, our sport, right? You have to be the coach, the caddy. You have to do it all out there. Don't have any friendly words of wisdom as you're in action.
You think of some of the surprising shot choices that Filler has made. And you also remember the cue ball that almost scratched in the side pocket. From Gorst's point of view, Filler could actually have had quite a substantial lead by now, without all that much having happened differently. Instead of which, Gorst has won 4 of the last 6 racks and is now level for the first time since the start of this final. It's 4-all.
So, Jeremy, you're the coach of Joshua Filler. You'd be allowed to go out there in the arena. What would you say to him?
Well, I mean, I said it before a couple times this week. You got to play to win, not to lose. Of course, I don't think that's the case with Josh, but a lot of times, your first gut instinct is the way to go, and I think we saw 2 games ago he went away from that. A little surprising on the last, but I'd just say, hey, settle it down, knock balls in. That's what you do.
I don't know if you heard it, Jeremy, but Carl really put it up to Jason when he stepped in there, asking him if he was picking the Asian Reyes Cup team, which 5 would he pick? So think about that, and we'll come back to it. Get your
Rack
5 in a little while.
Fedor Gorst to break. Scores are tied, 4 racks each.
I'm still waiting on that trivia question as well. I think you said last night you'd have another for us.
Plenty of time.
There goes the 1 ball.
Yeah, but he's been thin, which we haven't seen all week. Now the 3rd time in this match in just a matter of 8 games. So something to think about for Fedor Gorst. And that's when you're a little lucky not to lose the cue ball, when you're a little thin or thick on the ball, the side pockets or the corners. An interesting question with Team Asia. I talked about it yesterday that, Europe has had this type of setting now. Of course, it's not going to be Manila, which I think it will be just as crazy as the Moscone in my opinion. But, Asia hasn't played in that type of setting. And maybe hasn't played a lot of doubles together when you talk about, different countries, different players. Now the Filipinos, they practice doubles together all the time. They might practice 6 of them at a time, doubles, but you're talking about players from Chinese Taipei, possibly Vietnam, who
Extension
knows?
call.
China, Singapore, right? So you got to think this one over. I think I would put Yap in there. I think he would be the type of player that would suit pretty well.
I don't think any of us even mentioned him. We mentioned about 20 players and didn't put him in there at all, which just shows you how much depth they have.
Yeah, I think it's got to be, of course, at least probably 2 Filipino players if you're assembling that team. We're going to have some off rankings, of course, so it's not all going to be just picks. Big shot here, though. Fluky. But that's kind of what I'm talking about, right? I mean, said it before. Luck favors the brave a little bit. Fortune favors the brave. Had a push-out option, decided to go for it. I think that's the mentality you need.
Yeah, that's the 3rd or 4th time we've seen Fedor Gorst with the short cue in his hand.
I think after the World Cup, I think Johan Chua is one that I would definitely entertain, whether it be off points or a wild card, as you would call it. I think his doubles play, I think he led Aranis really well, kept him positive. That's a name you got to consider.
And you look at some of the youngsters as well, like Amoroto and Regilario. Who knows what they might achieve between now and October that puts them in the frame.
Well, also, when you talk about the youngsters and you talk about no one with that type of experience on the Asian side and that kind of event, the youngsters can sometimes hold up in that kind of setting, especially those type of players.
Somebody else we didn't mention, Michael. Raga.
I think Jason might have mentioned him. I think his name did come up somewhere.
Yeah, I think he'd have to be a consideration. And, there's how sweet it is. We're just picking names out of the hat, and then we're all like, oh, yeah, that guy.
I was wondering whether Pagulayan might think it's time to switch back to the Philippines, but with all these names, it's probably not worth bothering because it'd be so hard to get into that team anyway.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think there's guys that, not saying that Alex can't get back in that form, but at the moment, if I was picking the team, it'd be a nice conversation with Alex to try and do something like that. But at the moment, you would have to probably go beside him.
Meanwhile, back to the present day, and Fedor Gorst has not yet led this final. He could be 2 balls away from doing it.
Yeah, he was 3 down. Remember that jump shot where he fluked the hook? And then since then, really, Phil has had opportunities and he's made some poor shot selection choices.
And with that, Fedor Gorst is in front for the first time in the final at 5-4. Joshua Filler made all the early running in this World Masters final here in Hildesheim in Germany. He was leading 3-0, but Fedor Gorst has now got his nose in front for the first time at 5-4. Still a long way to go, though. 13 is what you need for the title. Those are the numbers so far. What do you make of those, guys?
Well, we've only played 9 games and 4 missed pots apiece. Long pot success down for Filler, which is usually his strength, and a couple fouls to boot.
Yeah, I think we could do with another stat on there. Shot selection, because a couple of things stand out with Filler's shot choices.
Thank you,
Maybe he
rack
should have
10.
attacked
Fedor Gorst to break.
that ball
Leading 5 racks to 4.
when he played safe, and it's all in the past now. The main thing is Gorst. He's in this final now. That's a better break. 9 balls close.
Ooh. Well, could raise possibilities for later on. I think I may have done Gorst a disservice a few moments ago, actually, when he drew level and I said he'd won 4 of the last 6 racks. Well, of course, it was 4 out of 5, which means he's now won 5 from 6 since being 3-0 down.
Well, I think I've come up with my 4 out of 5 players.
All right, I thought you were going for a 15-man team the way you were going with that.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to think about, right?
Well, come on then.
It's
Let's
a
have
big
your 4.
continent, Asia. Okay, so I think I got to go with Chua. I like Anton Raga a lot. J.L. Chang, Aloysius Yap. That'd be my first 4. I got to think of another.
There's got to be a co-brother in
You're
there.
leaving the co-bros out.
Well, you're right. I mean, probably Ko Ping Yi. I don't know. Maybe Ko Ping Chung. There's so many greats, though. I guess the combination of both the Ko brothers is pretty hard to leave out, and they're going to make it off rankings, right? So it's probably going to be them 2.
That's 6 players.
Well, Aloysius Yap is he's got a chance to make it off rankings as well. So if we go off rankings right now, it would be those 3. And I think you got to go Raga and Chua.
So you've named about 8 players there, JJ.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the 3 off the rankings that I talked about, and then Raga and Chua.
And you've left Biardo at home.
I mean, you got somebody's going to get left out.
I think what we need to do is we need to have another tournament called the Jones Cup, where we have another Asian team playing.
Well, it's difficult.
That's why I asked the question.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to this. And that wasn't the plan.
I just was really impressed with under the pressure of what Raga did. And, of course, Johan Chua, I just think he's really a guy that needs to play a little more, but a top 10 player in the world. Let me hear y'all's.
Well, if I was picking the team, not bothered about rankings,
Extension
I was
call.
picking the team, I'd go both Cobros, Carlo Biardo, Johan Chua, Wu Cha-Ching.
I might take Wu out and put Yap in. That would be the only change.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting for those 2 picks, that's for sure.
Well, I hope they don't decide to have the team picked by a committee of the 3 of us, because we'd never get it done by October. Anyway, let's zone in on this, and Gorst has run into 1 or 2 slight difficulties here, but he's keeping it going.
He's looking at the 9 ball of the purple 5. You can see it may pass the green 6, but looks pretty difficult. Is he banking the 5 as well?
Just showing the world how good he banks the ball.
Yeah, I had to twist that a bit with a bit of right spin. The speed was perfect. And didn't force the cue ball either. Interesting play there with the 9 over the lower left corner. If he lets it leak at all, what about the jump bank on the 9? That's a big pocket. I might entertain banking the 6 back off the 9, right? I mean, I know it was quite a severe cut, but it was there.
Well, I believe Phillip is chasing the 9 ball with the jump bank. Joshua Filler with a jump bank to make the 9, and he of course gives it the big shout. He's trying to get this crowd involved.
Well, in the World Masters final 5 years ago, David O'Cady played a shot so famous that it's since been named after him. Joshua Filler may have done something similar there. And we're back level.
It was such a big pocket. He could use the rail. He could hit it cleanly. That's why I was kind of curious, even getting the snooker. I think Fedor was an underdog.
And the cue ball flirted with a scratch in the other corner. Wow, what a moment that is. The moment of the final so far.
Yeah, just looking at the replays, you literally could not play that any better. He hit the 9 exactly where he wanted to off the rail. Didn't like wobble and then fall in.
Rack 11. Joshua Filler to break. Scores are tied, 5 racks each.
Joshua saying yes, or is that somebody in the crowd?
He does do things like that sometimes and just jolts his head forward and gives himself a little bit of applause or shouts something out like, come on. So may well have been him.
Yeah, and we talked about decision making. Not a lot of decisions in this rack. Maybe the easiest layout I've seen all week.
Yeah, he'd still like to get out into that center of the table. We were talking about the Cole Brothers cue yesterday, how expensive it was and how unique. Joshua Filler, I believe, he uses the lightest cue on tour. It's 16.8 ounces.
Wow, well, you know, the carbon fiber shafts, you know, they make them a little lighter, so that may have something to do with the balance he likes. A lot of times players don't really have to have a certain weight more than the balance of the cue.
Yeah, to put that into perspective, JJ, regular cue 19, 20.
Yeah, I mean 19 and a half. I mean, even more so these days with a lot of players. If you took a poll, it's gone a little on the heavier side than somewhere where Josh is at.
So this is going to be the 6th rack that Joshua Filler has won in the final, and half of them will have been with break and runs. And 1, 2 racks in a row, so back into the lead at 6-5 after a very swift 11th rack. Okay, Jeremy, you asked for this. You wanted a trivia question. Here's one for you. Joshua Filler is trying here to become a multiple winner of the World Masters, i.e. someone who's won it more than once. So how many other players have done that between the two of you?
Let me name them first. Al-Kaidi, Fayan, Suke.
Yeah, who's won it 6 times.
Bustamante.
Yeah, they're doing well here. Well, there's one I can't believe you haven't got. And that should be a clue in itself.
Oh, SVB.
Yeah, the only back-to-back winner.
Yeah. Well, give me some time.
Well, you're doing well there.
Okay. Don't think Pagulayan won it twice.
No, just the once, 2008.
12.
What about Engert?
Joshua Phillips
Yeah,
break.
very good, Thomas
Leading
Engert.
6 tracks to 5.
Engert.
I'll save the day, JJ.
Yeah, another great German player. That's why I brought it up, Carl. I knew you were here to help.
Well, this is going to set up nicely. He didn't make the one. Not sure which ball he did make. Oh, it's the green 6, okay.
Yeah, well, after that great bank combination, jump bank combination, it was. Now it seems the aggression's back. I don't think the 2 is very tight to go by the purple 5. Wanted a little better, but should be okay. He can come across towards the pink if he wants. He can check the cue ball. He can actually go 3 rails. That's not a bad play, actually, with low left English, or low right English, excuse me.
And as JJ said, that little rail near the side and the pink 4 was sticking out. Really is amazing, 9-ball, how quick it can turn. You know, if you cast your mind back, Fedor Gorst banked that purple 5, didn't he? Up into the corner where Joshy stood now, and then he played a pretty good safety. It was up for debate whether I think it was the right or wrong shot, but it was still a good safety. And then look at the turnaround here.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what surprised me, though, is taking on the bank to play the safety. Maybe he was trying to hold the cue ball a bit more to maybe play a bank on the 6 to get at the 9.
Well, we've been talking about how long it's been since Joshua Filler won a Matchroom individual title. The last time he did it, the UK Open, almost 2 years ago. It was a bit like this early on in the final against Francisco Sanchez Ruiz, both jockeying for position, fairly close, and then Filler just found another gear and swept away to win 13-7. It's going to be back-to-back break and runs, as seems likely here. Could be seeing the green shoots of something similar happening again.
Yeah, I was wondering if he may try to stun into the 9, trying to keep it a bit more simple. Caught the top of the 9. Now it became a little more difficult. I go short side here on the 9. Don't try to go back and forth. Just let it slowly pull over, opening the pocket just a bit.
Could also kill it like a Copigny style shot. Oh, Filler's just kind of just giving racks over to Gorst, isn't he? Opportunities anyway.
Well, that's it. You take all the unexpected things that have happened and the unnecessary things that have happened out of the equation, and translates into a substantial lead for Filler.
Extension
As it
call.
is, he could be level again in a moment.
Yeah, even though the scoreline is still in favour of Filler, you'd have to say it's Gorst who's the more composed, isn't he? You know, it was only a kind of missed 8 in the first rack. Since then, he's been very solid.
It looked likely to be the other way. Filler bounced into the arena, all smiles. Gorst looked a little bit tense about it all. The start of the final. Big moment this.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the stats as far as balls pocketed. Even though it's going to be 6-6, I'm wondering how close that really is.
So from 3-0 down, Gorst got level at 4-all. It was later 5-all. And now, somewhat unexpectedly, it's 6-all. They both still need another 7 to lift this World Masters title. Midway through this World Masters final, the headline is that it's Gorst 6, Filler 6, but you'd have to spend a long time trying to explain everything that's gone on in these first 12 racks. These numbers might go some way towards doing that, guys.
Yeah, it's all very even. Look at every single one. There's nothing really in it, and that reflects the scoreline. I think the only thing is, for me, as I said earlier on, it's just a couple of decisions Filler's made. You see long pot successes way behind in that. And,
Thank you,
he's
rack
just
13.
missed that long 8 ball.
Fedor Gorst to break. Scores are tied, 6 racks each.
But let's be honest, 6-6. We're pretty much halfway through this final. This is where we wanted it to be.
I'll tell you one thing I did not expect, and the break has been all over the place for Fedor. He's hit it thin a few times, that one way thick. Watch how much of the one he caught there. A little bit above the rack. You want to be diving below it, so just a few struggles.
Can cut this one ball in. Cue ball's going to be coming off the pink 4. I think the 2 ball does pass the red 3 if he plays for the centre.
Yeah, and as great as Filler is at any of these types of shots, just pocketing the ball after you miss a few, it can become a little mental.
So much talk about Filler trying to win in his home country. It's only ever happened 3 times in the World Masters. Skaversky in 2012, I mentioned earlier. 2 players representing England. Darrell Peach, the youngest ever winner in 1995. Raj Hundal, exactly a decade later, was representing England at the time. It's been played in plenty of other countries that could have produced a home winner, like USA, Philippines, the Netherlands. It's rarely been done.
Just wants to make sure he doesn't lose the cue ball onto the rail. Yeah, if he stays off that rail, he can manipulate the cue ball for the next shot. I think it's tight past the 9 ball.
Yeah, a little bit. It's going to be close in proximity, though, so he doesn't mind it.
Yeah, looking at that angle, he's got loads of room. I think so far, when you look at this match, Jeremy, pretty much what sums it up is Gorst can't get going and in front because the break's just letting him down, not quite timing it right. And Filler can't get in front because he keeps making the odd silly mistake that we're not used to.
It's a dry break from Gorst at the start of rack 13. And he mops it up. Another swift rack for him. He leads again at 7-6. Fedor Gorst looking to win this title for the first time. He'd never been beyond the last 16 before. That was on his debut when there were 24 players in the field, so he did have to win a match to reach that stage. But these are the players who have won it over the years. 2013 there, Carl, when Niels Fine won it for the first time. Was that the year he beat you in the semis?
No, it's his second.
Oh, it was as recent as that?
Yeah.
Okay, right. There you can see some great names. Ralph Souquet, obviously, with his 6 wins. Alex Lely, former European Mosconi Cup captain. Tony Drago, very famous snooker player. Became one of the top pool stars, and he won it in 2003. And these are the more recent winners. David O'Cady with a couple of wins. We're very much into the Gibraltar era here. 2020, no event, like so many major sporting events in that COVID year. Alexander Kazakis, big story for him to win it in 21, having led by a big margin in the final, the previous staging, and lost to O'Cady in the last rack. And he beat Shane Van Boning 9-0 in the final when it was next played 2 years later. Filler the winner in the last of the Gibraltar stagings.
Rack 14.
Copigny the winner in
Joshua
Brentwood
Phillips
in Essex.
Leading 7 racks to 6.
Almost 12 months ago.
Is the 1 ball going to go? Okay, look at this, and he's getting shots, isn't he? After he seems to throw one of the racks away, he seems to run the table off a dry break from Gorst, and then a break and run.
Yeah, a little Groundhog Day through the first half of this match. Again, not an easy layout, but very doable.
I think Villa's just got to make sure he doesn't try and not do anything silly. I know it's easier said than done, but he's not going to keep getting away with it, is he? At some point, if Gorst stays with him, he's going to get an opportunity off the break, Fedor. He really will. He's landed a bit straight on this one, though.
Yeah, it looks like he's entertaining drawing back for the 5-7 combo in the lower left. That's how straight he is here. Didn't want to take on the purple. It looks like a very playable shot in the side, but
Extension call.
and it is playable, but it's a lot thinner than I think the TV tells us. I don't argue either play, but going forward, you just got to tell them, you just got to bury a bit of a shot. I like that better than the combo myself. Only reason being, positions there a little easier, and he's got nice here.
Big shot coming up. They're never easy, these combos. There's a bit of a distance between both balls as well. Cued it very soft, didn't it, to hold the cue ball.
So arguably the hardest part done in this rack. It's not entirely a formality from here.
Joshua Filler also has the ability to forget about previous shots and previous racks. That's a skill in itself.
The last time there was more than one in it was as long ago as the end of rack 6 when Filler led 4-2, and after so much in between, he's got that 2-rack advantage back at 8-6. And you know, Carl, you'd look at that and say he's got 8 racks on the board, half of them with break and runs. If you hadn't seen the match, you'd think, oh, he's obviously played really well and dominated it. Doesn't come anywhere near telling the full story, though.
No, it could have been a bit of a one-way street, this final, but, them couple of errors that have come in, but, it has to be said, that man there, he's played his part so far in this final. He's still very much in it. He's playing solid. Obviously, if Filler doesn't make that jump bank on the 9, then a break and run, this final is still very much there. It really is.
It's funny to think they're on opposing sides, obviously, in the Mosconi Cup now since Gorst's defection to the US. But they've actually played a Mosconi Cup doubles match together, beating Shane Van Bonen and Corey Jewell in Coventry back in 2020. That was actually the first point Europe got on the board. And they went on from there to win comfortably and regain the cup after back-to-back defeats in the previous 2 matches. So,
Rack 15, Joshua Filler's break, leading 8 racks to 6.
Filler led by 3 right at the start of the match, breaking now with a chance to get back to that.
And I think now we can see the blue 2. A little thin on the hit on the 1, maybe a hair fortunate it went. Does he have a combination here on the 2 into the red 3? Yeah, it is there. It's not easy. Got to cut the two quite a bit if he's going to play it. Can he play something soft and just tuck him behind the round 7? He's going to edge this.
Well, he will not be happy with leaving an edge of the 2-ball, will he?
No, that being that close, he caught it quite thick, to be fair, and left Gorst much more of the blue 2 and maybe more options off the blue 2 than definitely he should have. So you have to run the cue ball here, maybe trying to find something behind the 9 off of one cushion. Between the pink and the 8.
Back-to-back shots from both players have gone wrong, but it's going to be Joshua Filler who's going to get an open look at the blue 2. Fedor just caught the point on the side pocket.
Still some work. The 4 kind of out in space. The 5, the lower left. Got to get all the way back up for the green 6.
Even though he's only 26, he's been achieving big things for a long time. Became the youngest player ever to be on a winning Mosconi team when he was still a teenager.
And kind of punched that a bit, which he does stun the ball quite often, but wanted more of a roll of the cue ball there. Now, does he really have to come short side? I don't know what he's going to do. Trying to come multiple rails. Watch out for the 7. That's the one he has to avoid.
Same again there, JJ. He was never guaranteed a shot. I thought he'd just come over near the right centre and just leave a thin cut on the 6. At least you know you guaranteed that shot, because it had gone wrong before to get on the purple 5.
And maybe missing just a couple of odd balls we're not used to made him want to try and gamble, get a bit closer. Now look, he may take this on anyways.
Well, it was a good pot, and the crowd acknowledged that, but he needs a better one.
Yeah, remember the red 3 in the Mosconi when he kind of had the closed bridge on top of the rail and followed the ball? Is that the same kind of shot here? No, he's drawing it.
Said it before, and I'll say it again. You're not going to keep potting your way out of trouble.
Yeah, this all started with a pretty simple shot in the side on the pink 4, and that's what happens in 9-ball pool, especially tough layouts, tough equipment. Starts to snowball on you.
Same again, though. The same storyline. First chance to Filler. Goes wrong. Fedor Gorst, he's there to pick the pieces up.
Yeah, and I'll tell you a scary thing that I'm sure many of these pool-playing Germans in the crowd know, that Fedor Gorst isn't going to continue most likely to break bad, right? I mean, he can get shots. He breaks as well as anyone.
Yeah, and he's staying right in there. Had a big finish earlier on. Pulled away towards the end of his semi-final against Jason Shaw. by picking off these racks that Filler is somewhat handing to him, keeping alive the opportunity to do the same again
Fedor Gorst wins
in
the
this
rack.
final. So Fedor Gorst wins that and then gets back to just one behind, 8-7. You won't often see 15 racks of 9-ball pool where there are so many of them that appear highly likely, or in some cases just about certain to go one way and then end up going the other. And this perhaps was another one. Joshua Filler didn't need to find himself in the position where he was facing that tough 7. Missed it by some distance, and Fedor Gorst swept up from there. So Gorst is now breaking with a chance to draw level once again.
Thank
Race
you,
to
rack
13,
16.
remember.
Fedor Gorst to break. Trailing 8 racks to 7.
There it is, JJ. There it is. It's the sweet spot.
Yeah, it was actually caught it a hair thick, but still it'll do. I think the cue ball was going to follow the one in the side, so that kiss that does happen, don't mind it, just because they get so many kisses that cause scratches with the cue ball. Thought he may have to push out. I don't think it's offensive. I think it's a safety coming.
Yeah, he also knows the green 6 is tied up on the brown 7, so always feel like that took a bit of pressure off this type of shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And I don't think you should change your mind and try and get behind the 6 and 7 with the cue ball. Just go ahead and stick it right there.
Certainly timing the ball nicely now is Fedor.
Now he can kick with a lighter speed, and that 6-7 offers more of this. And try to utilize the pink 4. Maybe get something there.
Yeah, good hit, good contact. Fedor can pop this in the side.
And he's brought the 4 down table as well, near the 5 ball, the purple 5. So that may, you never know, offer some kind of chance to open the 6-7. Could gamble maybe off the 3 coming up the side rail to open up the 6-7 with the pink near. Couldn't do that with the pink up top, like right here. This isn't bad. Just a little flick on the green 6 or the brown 7.
Extension called.
I tell you, Carl, I got to try and open these balls right here.
Couldn't agree more. It's just there, isn't it? If he flicks the 6 or the 7 off the second rail, you kind of fall. You just feel like you'll have some sort of shot on the pink 4.
Yeah, you don't want to blast it. You don't want to baby it. Just something in the middle. I really don't like 2 rails into the 8, which he was kind of looking at a little bit. I feel like you could get jacked up in an awkward way and really not open the balls. Just a running ball, maybe a hair right check.
He certainly moved them, didn't he? But let's have another look at the path it come in. It come off the 8 ball. I think he knew that, didn't he? We were kind of looking at that 8 ball for a little while.
Yeah, it may end up offering, though, a cross side bank that's not that bad on the green 6 here in just a couple shots. Really nice kill on the ball. I think he will at least size up the bank. May end up playing a safety, but
We do say this a lot, but Gorst, he's very good at playing the bank shots.
yeah, I'll tell you, if I get in position, I kind of ignore maybe the two-way, you know. He's had 2 banks in this match cross side. One when he played with speed, he hit the heart. The other one when it was a little lighter on the 9 in the first game, he missed it by some piece.
Well done, Fedor Gorst. This was a tricky rack, this, when he first got to work.
Yeah, that's why I like kick shot at the 2. I know it's hindsight, but a lot of times when you have balls tied up, right, and you're R hooked, you don't want balls to get rearranged that much, right? When he kicked the 2, he brought the pink 4 down. I think that started to give options.
Well, how many times in this final have we said something like this? It was only about 10 minutes or so ago. Joshua Filler looked a big favourite to go 3 clear at 9-6. In a moment, he could be back, dead level. We're used to seeing race to 5 between Europe and the US, and that's effectively what it is from here, because it's now 8-all with 13 the target. He could have had this won by now, you know, Carl. The chances Filler's had.
Yeah, he could have certainly had a big lead, couldn't he? But what it does mean is it sets up beautifully, this. 8-all in a race to 13, Gorst versus Filler. Tell you what, boys, we've seen some fantastic matches this week, and all the top players, you know, the players that win all the trophies, they just kept winning, didn't they?
Yeah, it's all been quite different to last year, hasn't it, when we had a number of surprises.
Rack
It was
17,
really-
Fedor Gorst to break. Scores are tied, 8 racks each.
Made such a big impact this week, and we've got 2 of the very best in the final. A final which is still so tough to call.
Yeah, that's the hit he's looking for. The cue ball coming down. Not sure if the blue 2 goes to the lower right, but he has the lower left. Both very difficult. You can see kind of what he's thinking. The 2 very difficult, right? But then position on the 3, it's
Extension.
doable, but with all that traffic, hard to get back down on the pink 4. So do you want to gamble here on the 2?
Where's the 2 ball going to end up? That's the problem. It's going to go near the pocket. May be able to swerve it and go rail first. He's brought the short cue as well. Not saying that shot was on there, JJ, but we don't see this shot very often anymore. You know, the stun 3 rail where you stun the ball in and put a bit of running spin on it to go 3 rails.
Yeah, there's certain players that really like that shot. I always liked that shot myself. Great hit there. Don't know if he's going to continue offensively, but that'll get him somewhat of control here in game number 17.
Opportunity to lock the cue ball up behind the 8. We're trying to use the 7 ball as well, just to make the kick a little more difficult.
This is where the players are so good. They get the feel of hitting. Oh, he's hitting downward. This is surprising to me. Trying to maybe make it. He's going to get behind the 7. 9-ball pool's amazing.
Gonna find the bottom rail. Now then, Fedor Gorst.
It's been a while since Gorst led. In fact, it was the only time he led. 5-4.
Yeah, these lay very doable. And he's starting to find the break shot as well. So we'll see if he gets in position to maybe stretch it out 2 games if he can get these last 6 balls down.
Did win 3 world ranking events in 2023, and decent ones as well. The Derby City Classic and the Turning Stone Classic, 2 well-established events in the US. And also the Perry Open in Hanoi, just before the Hanoi Open itself. Winning something like this, really what players of his caliber are doing it all for.
Has he just let the cue ball slip a little bit there, or can he just get into the cue ball without that 7?
Yeah, but if the green 6 is frozen, trying to come backwards, we have a drill we use called the yo-yo to really help you with that. But this ball can easily get pulled off the rail. You'd like to be going forward if possible, especially elevated. He's just going to try and go straight back and forth. Very well done.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Hit that one beautifully.
Well, he was handed the chance. There were still many little barriers to overcome. Not now, though. This is a routine 9. And it's to get to 9. And Fedor Gorst leads once again at 9-8.
Yeah, nice big sigh of relief there from Fedor, just lets it all out. He knows that was a big moment and he's back in the lead. And at the last 2 or 3 breaks, he's made the 1 ball, so he'll feel a little better coming into this break shot.
Well, it seems a long time ago now, but let's remember he was 3-0 down. He missed a chance to win the first rack, and then Filler broke and ran in racks 2 and 3. Gorst needed to respond quickly, and he did. From 3-0 down, he won 5 of the next 6 racks to lead the final. The only time he's been in front until now. Really, since then, it's been a case of both players trying to find a way of pulling clear, and Filler has looked the more likely and had more of the chances to do that, but has just thrown in the unexpected and 1 or 2 strange shot selections and decisions along the way. And it all adds up to taking us to this situation.
Rack 18, Fedor Gorst to break, leading 9 racks to 8.
Gorst has not had a lead of more than 1 at any stage. This will be a great juncture in which to do it. 9-8.
Here comes the 1 ball. He's got to look at it. Just look at how close the 1 ball was. Hit the jaw about 5 times.
Yeah, it's just he was just a hair thin. That's why it was just a hair off, but got another ball down, and one caught that point after it rattled a few, came back for pretty much a cupcake on the 1 to get started.
As has been much discussed, he represents the US these days. Only 2 American players have won this title. Earl Strickland and Shane Van Boening. Perhaps the 2 most prominent Americans in the modern game. What company that would be to find himself in later tonight.
I'll work okay. He's just about straight. He can pull it back in a straight line. Play for the brown 7. The bottom left. Everything's pure at the moment. Cue ball's coming around and just pulling up perfect on his next ball. We're just starting to see this little breakaway that we felt could happen if he got a bit more dialed in on the break in the second part of this final.
Well, it was with a strong late burst that he won his semi-final earlier today against Jason Shaw from 7-all. Won the next 4. Including back-to-back breaking runs to finish. This has been a very good rack and a half, let's say, from Gorst. He was ahead earlier. only by a single rack. Now he leads by 2, and if he can find 3 more, he will be the World Masters champion. If watching the World Masters has whetted your appetite to go along and watch some action in person, well, you don't have to wait long for the opportunity. 9 days from now, we'll be in Telford, along with the superstars of the World Game at the UK Open, won last year by Eklund Kachi. Tickets still available at matchroompool.com. Former Premier League footballer Troy Deeney will be playing in that, and I understand there may be some interesting announcements about other names in the field in the coming days. And soon after that, we're off to Saudi Arabia. $250,000 for the winner from a $1 million prize fund for the World Championship. Fair to say it's going to be a lot warmer than the circumstances in which Francisco Sanchez Ruiz won the title in snowy Poland in early 2023. All that to come, with the World Masters title on the line here.
Leading 10 racks to 8.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
No, nothing wrong with this at all indeed. Made the 1 ball, obviously the 2 ball looked like it was going to go near the pocket, it went in.
Amazing, he's really still not hitting the break shot. Now, we've seen all week, or most of the time he plays 9-ball pool, but good to know you're not going to miss the first one, that's for sure, at 10-8 in the final of the World Pool Masters. It's a tricky shot a little bit, just because the shot after could ease it, could try to shove it over a little bit just in case he makes them both. I kind of like easing it myself, but
Extension called.
just feel like you're supposed to be accurate enough to hold the 3, but said it is tricky.
Yeah, Fedor's identified that this is a big moment, a big shot in this final.
Oh man,
Didn't like it, JJ. Just didn't like that.
well, the thing that you got to think about there, you're shooting it that way because you expect one of 2 things: either the 3 to go in or the 3 to move away. So now you're bringing the cue ball near another ball, the purple 5, so anything may happen.
It was close.
I guess he was trying to pocket that and go into the 7 with the cue ball, because had to know if it goes up table, no future on the 5. Did he leave even a kick shot? A doable kick shot? This is very odd.
Keeps looking at the gap, doesn't he?
Oh, he's going to play rail first. A lot of spin, similar to the 6 earlier.
Previous shot from Josh, would have known the cue ball was tracking towards that top corner, and he also knew that if he hits the 3 good enough, it can bounce off the long rail and come back onto the short bottom rail, which it has done.
Yeah, like a high ball here, trying to go into the 5 to hold the cue ball. Yeah, something like that, trying to create some type of safety. He kind of drew off of it a little bit, but still not bad.
I tell you what, I wasn't fully concentrating, but I didn't think he could cut that ball in, JJ.
Well, we've talked about it all week. A lot of the players will go for that when they're getting separation and there's a little congestion, maybe, you know, to get a backdoor safety. And more often than not, the greats make it. We talked about it on the break. This is where Josh Filler seems to somehow find shots.
Look at how thin this ball is. He's playing the cue ball as well, don't get me wrong.
A little light there, so he's going to have to show us a bit more.
Please start the shot clock. Thank you.
It's the stun more than the draw usually. 2 cushions. He's going to draw it. Got a lot out of that.
Yeah, that's the other shot that the pros have got a lot better of as well.
Since we went away from sets and towards basing the World Masters final on racks all the way back in 1998, there have only ever been 3 hill-hill finishes. Everything about this final suggests we may well be heading for another one tonight. So Filler back to 10-9, and Gorst had the chance early on, but made the unforced error. Let's look at the numbers again, guys. What do you make of all this?
Well, still the long pot success down for Filler. That hasn't risen. Missed pots 8. Everything else pretty close overall. 3 safety errors for Gorst.
Yeah, and it's actually Filler who's got the one more break and run in this final.
Yeah, speaking of stats, actually on a rethink, it's been 4 times that we've had a hill-hill finish. The most
Joshua
recent,
Phillips break.
5 years ago, David
Including 10
O'Cady
racks to 9.
beating Alexander Kazakis, but still very rare.
And both players have struggled with the break in this match at different times and made the odd ball a few.
Had so many of these finals over the last year, going the distance. Spanish Open when Deng Junhui won the last 3 to beat Mark Beisterbosch. European Open with David O'Cady against Anton Raga. Back in October, Jason Shaw's win over Alban Ocean. Making a habit of it.
Yeah, and the pool fans on the social media keep telling us it needs to be alternate break to get close matches. This is not ideal. This is not where he wanted it at the start of this run out.
Yeah, he's close enough to it, though. He can really manage killing the cue ball. And he was lefty. That helped.
Yeah, he's very good at getting a lot out of that shot, isn't he? Previous shot to get on the 9 ball, Jeremy.
Yeah, that's all about what you were saying earlier, the timing.
To us mere mortals, it looks a scary shot.
Does he go forward here? Does he try to pump it in a little bit with speed, drawing the ball? Both are a hair awkward.
Look how long the bridge arm is. There's a lot of cue here.
Yeah, for the top players, he carries one of the longest bridges day in, day out.
Yeah, and the reason why he gets away with it a lot more, because he doesn't pull it back all the way back to his hand.
Well, I think the stun also, right? He's not one that really sweets it around, like, say, an Alban Ocean or some others, the Coe brothers and whatnot.
There have been a few times in this final when we've had to strongly fancy one player over the other because of the way it's been going. It's never lasted very long. And once again, just when it looked as though Fedor Gorst was taking control, Joshua Filler has won 2 in a row. We're level once again. 10-all.
Both players on double figures. It's a race to 13, so it's a race to 3 now. Just look at that. Two of the biggest names in the sport, the whole of America. Think the man on the left, Gorst, is the best player in the world. In the whole of Europe, think it's the man on the right, Joshua Filler.
Starting to feel like a massive moment in both of their careers. Filler didn't win these big titles in 2023 the way we'd expected him to. He's a chance to reassert himself here in his home country. Fedor Gorst has been world champion, but it was when it was a very different event. He's yet to win a tournament of this sort of scale.
Scores are tied, 10 racks
Prestige
each.
and attention. It's going to be a big night in someone's life.
Is he going to dress up, or is the 7 ball going to stop it? His reaction will tell us.
Well, he's running back quickly, so that says it probably does go. Wasn't much shrug of the shoulders, not much of a face. Just trying to get in position to attack again.
Like what you said there, Michael. It's the attention. That's the difference in winning these tournaments. You know, we're live on TV around the world, and these pool players are getting far more attention by snapping these big tournaments off. There's a lot more media covering these events. See social media as well. Got a little touchy one here. He's got to float through the gap. He can come off the rail just below the 7. It's not like he has to hold it. He decides to hold it though. That's hours and hours of practice. Just to float it through that gap. Talk about SVB. Everyone knows what a workhorse that man is, you know, puts countless hours in, but so do these two.
It seems like it's only been the blink of an eye since Gorst is leading 10-8. He'd won 4 racks in a row at that stage. Joshua Filler has stepped it up again. And now he leads again. And in just a moment, he'll be breaking with a chance to be first to the hill. Have gone out on the challenge of 14 of the 16 men who started out in this World Masters. Only 2 remain, Fedor Gorst and Joshua Filler. The red lights going on each of those players as they fell throughout the week. Eklund Kachi, last year's runner-up, first to go in the opening match. He led Joshua Filler 4-1. Filler was all out of sorts. He wasn't feeling well,
Joshua
battling the cold. Now,
11 racks to
he's
10.
2 racks away from the title.
Well, Jeremy, you said in the break, Phil was just trying to make the 1 ball, not been hitting the break fairly good the whole match, as in the cue ball control, and One ball's going close to the side, catches the point, goes up the rail. We see that now and again, and he's at the table with a shot on the blue 2.
Yeah, is there an early exit? Can he kill the cue ball for the 3-9? I don't think he does that, but you never know. He may play the 3-9 and play a safety around the backside of all those balls up the top left.
Yeah, he's having a look. He's having a look.
Yeah, he's lefty, though. He wanted
Extension
another
call.
6 inches out of the cue ball.
So he's trying to put the 9 ball, and he'd love to try and get the cue ball over towards them top 4 balls.
I think he's a favorite to make it.
And make it he has, and they're going well for him, and he'll decide how quickly he has turned this around from a final that only about a quarter of an hour ago looked to be slipping away from him. Now he's first to the hill, and Gorst has got to win 3 racks in a row.
Well, I'll tell you what, Michael, Jeremy, cast your mind back to when he beat Francisco Sanchez Ruiz at the UK Open. He was down in that match, and from nowhere, back against the wall, under pressure, when it matters, he delivered. And he can do this time and time again.
Yeah, really like no other I've ever seen. I mean, we have so many players when they get to the finals, they win so often, but the way he does it, not looking so good, the mind looked a little lost at times, but he's gotten it back together, and he's a sicko in the nicest way.
Well, you know, we were talking a lot over the weekend about Ko Pin-Yi trying to be only the 2nd player ever to win the World Masters 2 years in a row. 2 in 3 years, that's not bad either. And Filler has the chance to do that now.
This one here was not the hit he wanted. He's been getting away with some so-so hits on the 1 the last few racks. Made it up by some great shots after. But Fedor Gorst has got a chance, and a good chance here.
Yeah, Gorst has been sat in his chair, and he's had to see all that unfold, hasn't he? Good news is he's got a nice open pot here. Down for this blue 2, playing it in for the corner.
Yeah, and he's got a great layout considering your opponent on the hill and you trying to get back to the breaking position. Red 3 and 4 together, the 5, 6, 7. Does have to go up table for the 8 later in the rack, but gonna like his chances.
Bit of cue in there, just gets the cue ball over.
It's a little odd. I mean, he's not one to really want to dead roll his ball too much. Likes to stun forward, but does have a hair of an angle, so he's got to pay attention. Cleanly struck.
What pressure to be operating under. The full knowledge that 1 unforced error, 1 slip up. And Filler a great chance in all probability to finish this off.
I'll tell you, there was some mistakes and maybe some that left you scratching your head on decisions. And of course, we didn't ever expect to miss-hit the break as many times as he has, but the latter half of this match has been class. Really, really something special to watch.
Yeah, I think it really underlines again what a good move it was to go for the longer matches and change the format of the World Masters since last year. So much opportunity for great storylines and narratives to develop.
Okay, can handle a lot. Just keep the cue ball off the rail. When pressure's on, that's the one that really promotes the mistake. He wanted a little angle. He may have to draw back here.
It's okay. Got the angle. Got a lot to work with here. And we're talking about angles. Make sure you've got an angle on the 8. Don't let that cue ball slip away from you and start leaving a funny shot on the 8.
Extension called.
Yeah, just where he was pointing the cue tip. You would love it there. Going to be feeling it. Gorst. Been involved in a classic match so far. He's played very good as well to find himself 12-10 down.
Well, he went a little further than I thought. It's going to float a bit. Should be okay, though.
This is a nice cue ball because he's made it unmissable. When the cue ball's travelling that far, you don't want to leave yourself on the 50-yard line.
And of course now breaking, looking to take us to a hill finish. This is still very much anyone's final. And it really has turned into one of the great World Masters finals. As I was saying, we've had hill finishes before. Francisco Bustamante, all the way back in 2001, beat Earl Strickland 7-6. Raj Hundal, one of the 3 players who has won this title in his home country, seeing off Rodney Morris 8-7. We also had an 8-7 when David O'Cady won it for the first time against Jason Shaw, and then a 9-8 when he won it for the second time against Alexander Kazakis. As I said, we've had so many big finals over the last 12 months go the distance. And this has looked for so much of the way like a final that was going to continue that trend, except maybe right at the start when Filler was leading 3-0. There were several times during the match where it looked as though he was in with a chance of taking a firm grip on things, but was never able to really pull away.
Rack 24. Fedor Gorst to break. Trailing 12 racks to 11.
And if he wins this rack, he will break in a decider.
What a break he's hit here. He needs a 7 to get out the way. It hasn't. There's not much you can do about that. All you can do is hit the break as good as you can.
I think he may have an edge here, Carl. I'm not sure he can go offensive on it or not. It's going to be awfully thin, but I think he can see a piece of the blue 2. The red 3's not in a favorable spot, though. There's that little edge he does have, and again, no future with that. Boy, this is going to be tough because you almost have to leave some type of challenge. It may be something silly, but or something low percentage, rather. You have to go to the top rail here. I think you almost have to go up there.
Yeah, he could play off the 6. Try and get the 6 blocking that red 3 into the top left. Cue ball on the rail.
Extension call.
Yeah, such a crucial game. Pretty hard to have extinguished your extension with the 60 seconds after the break as well. So we'll see how that plays out later. I think you need the cue ball pretty close to the rail, though. He's going to look at what you talked about. Anytime you're behind, you want to try and lengthen the game. And if you're pushing out at this level, you're definitely behind.
Joshua, it's your choice.
Well, clearly he wasn't bothered about the 6 ball. He just used the 6 ball to get the cue ball there.
Yeah, you got to believe Josh is going to cut this to the rail on the top of your screen and run the cue ball, trying to put the blue 2 below the 9 and 5, maybe. Maybe that's too dangerous.
Fedor, please play again.
Well, there you hear it. A referee, Ben, tells Fedor, you've got to play the shot. Filler, he's having none of it.
Yeah, and Fedor gave a gesture like he was pretty shocked to get it back. The score sometimes makes you make different decisions, and at 12 and 11, kind of feel like he'd go up behind the 8 if it was early in the match.
Gotta be careful though, because where's the 2 ball going? You know, you're running near the 9 ball.
Well, I think he just caught it a little thick is all, and the 2 leaked. He planned on it being behind the purple. And this similar to maybe the 3 ball that, similar situation, the 3 ball that Filler cut in a few games ago. May go for this, trying to track the cue ball back for somewhat of a safety and position.
Thought he might have had a go at that ball. Not saying safety's not the play.
Yeah, I thought he would go for it myself.
It's always difficult when you're looking at your screens trying to see the angle that the players are seeing. They've got the best seat in the house.
Extension call.
Yeah, and even though he can see it, this is pretty odd. Could come 1 rail behind the 7, but then I think it's harder to contain the 2 than he thinks, especially on the slick table. Looks like floating with heavy spin behind the 5 is an option more than going to the 7. Is Gorst going to bank at this? I certainly think so.
So he's Gorst playing the full table bank. He is, I think. Yeah. He definitely played it, JJ, sort of. I know he was trying to get the cue ball over as well. Maybe not. Maybe a bit 50-50 on it.
Yeah, talk about a lot of times shooting in between, right? Kind of gave one a little bit of an effort on the safety, and I thought he just fired in, to be honest. Just such a good banker. Well, to be fair, the 4 was a fluke, of course, but he did pretty well to track the cue ball all the way up the table. And that's all he had.
Well, this is as tough as it gets if he takes it on. It looked good, but it isn't good.
He maybe put a little much on it, thinking he may get a rub off the 7. Uh-oh.
Well, that would have taken the roof off.
Oh, and has he become a little a la Efren Reyes, the way he's kicked at the ball the last 6 months?
Listen, said it at the one of the start of the shows this week. He's kicking. How many times does he kick and stick the cue ball now?
Yeah, he's definitely put in some time, not only physically, but mentally figuring out how to go at those kick shots.
What we got here, JJ? Not had a proper look yet. Is there a chase to 9 or I don't know?
I don't know about that. Unless he's going to play a hydraulic shot with a lot of speed. No, he's going to try and just get something. Wow. Looks like going at the 9.
Yeah, I'm going to say, if we can see enough of it, I know what Phil's like. He's not scared of chasing the 9, but I don't know if he can see enough of the ball.
I think he's going to edge it. Try and just lay it maybe on the side rail, go behind the purple. There's not a lot of options here. He can go at it and draw the cue ball.
Look
where the cue ball ended up.
I know, JJ, this bumblebee is scary. It's flying all over the table.
No more, thank you.
And you can't really blame him. You know, there's a lot of people at home, you know, wondering why a professional would go at it there, but it was the clock going down, of course. Nothing easy on the safety.
JJ, why did he spin the cue ball? Why not play for the 5 in the side?
I'm not sure either. Of course, he only had the left side of the cue ball. A lot of times, you know, you'd rather shoot towards the meat of the cue ball. You can see the 8 kind of impeding the center.
Yeah, maybe that was the case. It's just under the cosh, you know, you're minimizing your chances. What's he left here? Can he cut the ball?
Absolutely.
Okay, the drama, the pressure is kicking in now.
Yeah, it's a little bit like the beginning of the match, to be honest. Some crazy things happening.
Phil's usually very reliable at that type of shot.
Well, the funny thing is I expected a lot more speed. Him just to flat cut it in with a high ball and go up and down. He tried to kind of maybe make the pocket a little easy, a little bigger.
Now this does go past the 8. Fedor's turn to miss it on the short rail. He goes back on to the short rail.
Yeah, well, Josh will play him behind the 6 here, I believe. And this is where you don't have to come all the way down with the 3, really. Just concentrate on the cue ball. Let the 3 linger out in the middle.
Once the cue ball welded on this 6, wants to take away the jump cue. Well, he can get to the back rail. He's going for the short cue. He's going to try and cut this ball in, I believe.
Yeah, well, you remember the 3 ball he jumped and cut in, I guess, against Jason Shaw in the semifinal.
Yeah, Jason Shaw's just stood in front of us. He's give Jeremy the stare down. Is he trying the cut or the stop shot?
Oh, definitely the cut. Well, this game may go on for another 20 minutes.
Well, the Pool Gods want a hill. We want a hill.
The one man in Germany who doesn't is Joshua Filler.
I'll tell you, what do? You have to evaluate what Fedor's done in this game from distance. I think you have to get the 3 out and come 2 rails back up to the top. You have to make him come with 1 here.
No extensions available, so he's got 10 seconds.
Wow, overcut it. And now we're facing that hill. If Fedor can get these last 6.
Well, we've seen the nerves kick in, as Carl was saying, over the last few minutes. It seems the only obvious obstacle to him winning back-to-back racks. 12-10 down to take us all the way.
Yep, that's okay. He can pot this ball.
Get the funny feeling, though, we're still not done with this rack. I mean, he's supposed to get out here, but falls on the rail later on the 8. Who knows? this shot here, he's going to sacrifice distance a little bit, it looks like. Make sure you don't get into this too much and get over the 9 or something like that. Killed it nicely. You come between them, Carl. You come across, it's the type of shot you could fall on the rail, a little funny on the 8.
Yeah, plus you are bringing the 9 into play if you slightly pull out of the shot. Suppose it's all about what this man wants to play. He's in the moment.
Uh-oh. Gonna get there? Just barely.
Only just, I'm sat right behind this shot, JJ. He's only just got past the 9. There you see it.
Yeah, I think the television angle is maybe even a bit misleading. We're right behind the shot, and it's actually perhaps even more marginal than it looks on screen.
Yeah, and pretty sweet to just get by it, though, and not fall on the rail.
We've enjoyed deciding rack finishes and big finals all around the world over the last 12 months. In Lugo, in Fulda, in Hanoi. And now in Hildesheim, Fedor Gorst has won 2 in a row when he really needed to. And he'll be breaking in the rack, which will decide the outcome of this title.
If they extended it to like 21, and let's just see some more, but we all like the 1-game finishes.
I think you'll be going straight from here to the airport if that was the case. So the decision was made going into the 2023 event to extend the World Masters final a long way to race to 13, and here we are in only the 2nd year of that format, and we are having a rack that is going the full, or a match rather, a final that is going the full quarter of a century of racks. The longest match in World Masters history. Almost 3 hours since they started, and we still don't know who's going to win it.
Here comes the handshake. And a little hug as well. It's going to be Fedor Gorst to break. We are approaching the unknown. It's a big advantage.
This is the final rack.
To have the break, it
Fedor
really
Gorst
is. It's time for a hill shootout.
Yeah, keep your eye on the ball racked in the middle. Well, he's going to get the first chance. What's the 5 going to do to the 2 ball?
Oh my word.
He's got an angle, though. He's got an angle. And the 3's pretty playable, so he doesn't have to get perfect from behind the blue 2.
Yeah, he does have an angle, but how different would this rack have been if the purple 5 had not finished there?
Yeah, but how big is this first shot? Look at the rest of the layout. The 5, after the 2 is gone, is there. The 6, 7, opposite sides. Boy, I'd rather draw behind this, I think, than follow, but that's just me. Don't know if he has enough angle to feel comfortable actually drawing it. But nice to know if you do get on the 2, the 3's very playable. Does he not have as much angle
Extension call
as we think? I thought the overhead was telling us he had a bit more than what he's leading on. He forces it 2 rails, he may open the 2-5.
This looks good to me, you know.
This looks perfect.
Well, what a test of nerve that shot was. Joshua Filler so sportingly tapping his leg in appreciation. Okay, the chance is there now to become champion.
What a positional shot he played there on the yellow 1.
Yeah, cheated the pocket on the 1. You saw him kind of play it in off the knuckle. That was on purpose, just to create easy cue ball movement. And class act, Filler recognizing how good that was, especially at 12-12.
Just all about trying to hold yourself together now. It's hard to say he's done the hard work on getting on that blue too, because it's the situation, it's the moment. He's got 5 balls left to win the Masters.
Yeah, I'd hate to play this with inside spin. It looks like he's going to put just a little. I just say that because I'd be a nervous wreck out there at 12-12.
I'll put it this way, how long would it take to get over if he didn't win the title from here?
Interesting to see how he plays from the 7 to the 8. Little bit of work.
Another fine shot there from Gorst. Boy, he's done well. He's had to sit there and watch Filler get to the hill first.
Gorst is the champion, and it is quite a Fedor in his camp. He was 10-8 up. He lost all of the next 4 racks as Filler got to the hill. Gorst had to finish with 3 in a row. And in a climax, absolutely dripping with tension and atmosphere, Gorst has done just that. He is the World Pool Masters champion for the very first time.
Well, fair play to Fedor Gorst. What a final he played. So consistent all the way through. Filler threw everything at the young man. And he showed a lock bottle in the end to clear the table at Hill Hill.
Yeah, break and run to finish. That's pure class.
The winning moment, he knew it was coming. He had done his celebrations already. And that's the greeting of 2 men who know they've just been involved in a final that we will talk about for a long time to come. So Joshua Filler does not get his home country title, but he's getting closer. Quarterfinals in Fulda in 22, semi-finals in Fulda in 23, both of those in the European Open. Now, a final in Hildesheim in the World Masters in 24. The quest will go on to win a big title in his homeland. Well, guys, they're the final figures. What do you make of all that?
Well, all very fairly even. Long pot success. Filler did get that back up a little bit. Gorst dropped it a little bit. 12 missed pots, 9 for Gorst. But the biggest stat of all, Jeremy, is 13-12 to Gorst. What a match, what a final, what a player.
And that is the stat that means that Fedor Gorst is the world master. Let's go down to die.
Thank you very much, Michael. Oh, Joshua, it was so close. I mean, it was skill at the highest level. You put your all in. Not to be today, but what are your thoughts right now in front of your home crowd? He played incredibly well, didn't he, ladies and gentlemen? Impressing so many here in Germany.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's been amazing, actually. It's been fun, of course. Thank you.
I love the support for you.
Yeah, thank you all guys for all the support during all the days. It helped. But this final, I just messed up myself. I had so many opportunities actually. Got actually so many rolls, but couldn't use them. But the way he played, my save, I mean, 3 times I hooked him and 3 times he just made a good jump shot or kicked me. And yeah, I mean, the way he played, he deserved to win for sure. I mean, from 12-10 down, fighting back. Yeah, it's been a good final, I think. Of course, some unforced errors from my side, but it was good to be in the final. So still heads off to Fedor. Good job, and I hope to see you soon.
In a final. Lovely words for your opponent. Sehr gut gespielt. And to our winner, ladies and gentlemen, of the 2024 Whirlpool Masters, Fedor Gorst. Fedor, how does that feel, saying that?
It feels unbelievable. Honestly, both of us had crazy rolls in this match, and I was up 10-8.
You were 12-10 down. You won the last 3 racks.
Well, I was going to say, I was up 10-8, and my next shot, I was down 12-10. So I thought it was over for me. Somehow, the game turned around, and that game, I believe it was 12-11.
Yeah.
The game before that was, it was a game changer.
Well, do you know this is the longest game in Whirlpool Masters history? So there was a lot of tension out there. I know there were a lot of nerves, but this is your second major title. You won the World Championships a few years ago. How does this compare?
Well, it's completely different. The World Championships feels like I won it forever ago. I don't even remember. We discussed it like 5 years ago. So yeah, definitely. This feels like a proper major. Hats off to Matchroom. It's an unbelievable tournament to win. And yeah, I was just the luckier guy today. I mean, the score is 13-12. Nobody really deserved to lose in this match, but like I said, I'm just a lucky guy today.
Well, luck and skill, I would say. You are the 30th winner of this event. It dates back to 1993 and the 7th different winner in the last 7 years. So huge congratulations, Fedor. It is now time for our trophy presentation. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause. Please welcome our presentation party, the CEO of Matchroom Multisport, Emily Fraser, and representing Moltke Sports, the head of pool, Jackie Berger.
Receiving $20,000 and the runner-up plaque. Please give it up for one of your own, Joshua Filler. And to receive $40,000 and the trophy presented by Jackie Berger, the World Masters Champion 2024 is Fedor Gorst! Your champion, ladies and gentlemen, Fedor Gorst!
And JJ, and Carl, first off, just tell us how impressed you are by that performance.
Brilliant performance. Fedor Gorst was under the gun there, wasn't he? Obviously Filler threw everything at him. Filler may look back at the final and feel like he let a few racks slip away, but maybe it was just destiny that we was going to get the hill that we always wanted. And in the end, what a shot Gorst played at 12-12, spinning the cue ball round off 3 rails off the 1 ball to land perfect on the 2 ball. After everything that Filler had thrown at him, he showed a lot of heart in that last rack.
So much to play for. Did he show a lot of heart, Gorst? Did he rise to the occasion?
Yeah, both guys did. Like Carl said, that last shot, the thing about that last shot on the 1 to open that last rack is you're kind of dead meat if you don't get there. You get in a funny spot and you feel a little foolish maybe, but he cheated the pocket on the 1 perfect. He cleaned it up from there. It was not the best braking performance at the beginning of the match for Fedor Gorst, but overall he got it together and he got the win.
Well, Gorst is only 23 years young, just an incredible talent and a bright future ahead as well.
Yeah, of course. We knew this day would come. He's played so consistent over the last 12 months on the World 9-Ball Tour. He's been knocking on the door, US Open final, quarterfinals in Hanoi. Very good run in the Premier League and all 3 weeks ago. Another final here against Filler, and he managed to get over the line and get the job done. I mean, how much will this make him feel going into these other major tournaments now? Know he can get a win like that over Filler in a Hill thriller.
Oh, I love that. So I know this is an invitational. We all know it's an invitational, so no world ranking points. But is Fedor Gorst right now the best player in the world?
Well, first off, it's an invitational that you earn your invite because it goes by rankings. So, I mean, there's a lot to be said for that. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be an argument that's going to be there for a while, for a long time with these two. Who's the best player? And you might see him again in a final in a couple of weeks there in Telford.
Oh, great. So really looking forward to the UK Open. The longest game in World Pool Masters history, Carl. It just went on and on. We didn't know. It was so unpredictable who was going to win this.
Yeah, it was. And like I say, you know, when all the dust has settled and the confetti's settled,
it's gone all over us, hasn't it?
Well,
completely.
I think Joshua Filler will look back and think this one got away a little bit. He had the chances early on. He missed a lot of key pots, long balls, you know, maybe a few shots that he didn't really pick the right shot selection, what me and JJ thought. But, you know, he's out there, he's the man with a cue, but he'll bounce back. He's won tournaments. It's not easy to bounce back if you've not won the tournaments.
Yeah.
But when you've got the silverware Filler has, he'll bounce back. And, you know, Gorst at 23, Filler at 26, me and JJ are old men. We'll be in our 70s. These two will still be battling it out on the base.
Well, Filler, a winner in 2022, he's not been feeling great this week, has he? He's been a little bit under the weather. Do you feel that did play a part?
Possibly. I mean, maybe, you know, I talked about him playing an evening match. You know, he played that first match against Kashi, but it was the first match in the evening on day one. The pressure mounts. Maybe a little under the weather at times. You can make a poor decision. It does happen to all of us. But, you know, it's just 9-ball pool, and that's why we love it.
Have you had 4 brilliant days, Carl, watching sport at the highest level?
I have. Have you enjoyed it, though, Dan? This is your first event.
Well, I was hoping you'd throw it back my way. I have absolutely loved it. There's been so much hard work going on behind the scenes. Matchroom have done a brilliant job. Amazing to showcase it on Sky Sports. And our winner, I mean, perfect timing, is Fedor Gorst. There he is with all his fans. Absolutely delighted. His second major title. Thank you, JJ. Thank you, Carl, for looking after me. I have loved it. From all of us here in Germany, it's Auf Wiedersehen. Until next time, good evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, 9-ball fans around the world, this is the World Pool Masters live from Hildesheim, Germany.
They've turned out in numbers here in Germany to cheer on their leading pool star.
Jason Shaw. What a start. A golden break with the very first shot of the match.
Ko Ping Yi, the defending champion.
Some crazy things happening.
Oh, but that's one way to do it. Joshua Filler has streaked away. He will contest the World Masters final.
The drama, the pressure is kicking in now.
Oh, watch the 9, watch the 9. Fedor Gorst from 7-all has pulled away with 4 racks in a row to defeat Jason Shaw, and he'll be back on the table in a World Masters final.
Oh my word.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for. The final of the World Pool Masters live from Hildesheim, Germany.
And it's there, Joshua Filler with a jump back to make the 9. He's trying to get this crowd involved.
Now he leads by 2, breaking with a chance to be first to the hill. Make it, he has, and they're going well for him in Hildesheim. Gorst is the champion, and it is quite a Fedor in his cap. He is the World Pool Masters champion for the very first time.